going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, Nick Wright of Fox Sports disrespected the Minnesota Vikings in his latest tier rankings list, where it's necessarily just a glorified power rankings, but he had the Minnesota Vikings a little too low on his list. So I want to give you guys my thoughts there. And then also, Kevin O'Connell, he had an unbelievable game plan versus the Green Bay Packers, and I want to highlight 4 plays where they were a beautifully designed play and honestly perfectly executed by the members of the Vikings offense. We'll show you guys that here in a second, but first off, help us reach 34,000 subscribers here at Vikings Now by Chat Sports. We just need 196 more of you guys to hit that sub button. So if you guys haven't already and want to help support us grow this Vikings channel here, hit that sub button, lock us in. And one of my favorite Vikings player ever, Andrew Zendejo, he wore number 34. So I'm trying to hit 34K before kickoff this Sunday versus the Jets. So go down there and hit that sub button. All right, let's talk about it. First things first, Nick Wright disrespected the Minnesota Vikings in his latest tier list. Now, I will say this. I am a big fan of the show. I damn near watch it every single day once I get off work. So, I am a fan of the show, but I wasn't necessarily a fan of Nick Wright and his tier rankings for this team. And also, happy birthday to Nick Wright. It is his birthday today, funny enough. But he came out with his tiers list entering Week 5, and he had our Minnesota Vikings on the 5th tier from the top. And if you guys notice, the team that is on the same tier as the Vikings is the Cincinnati Bengals, the 1-3 Cincinnati Bengals. And he has his tier listed as thank God for the committee. But funny enough, on this tier list, you guys see the tier right ahead of the Vikings. It's the Packers, Niners, and Texans. And I don't know if Nick Wright did this on purpose just to get a reaction out of Vikings fans, but this was ludicrous. The Vikings not only beat each of these 3 teams over the last 3 weeks, they did not trail for a single second. They dismantled all 3 of these football teams, and Nick Wright had them ahead of the Vikings. Well, let's see what he had to say. He says, thank God for the committee. Show me any power rankings that have the courage to have a 4-0 team and a 1-3 team on the same level. However, deep down, all of us know that only one of these teams passes the confetti test, and he meant the Cincinnati Bengals. And he also said deep down, everyone knows that contenders in 4 months, if they were told who would you want to play, it wouldn't be the 4-0 team. So his main point of the Vikings and the Bengals being on the same tiers is that teams in 4 months from now would be more scared of the Bengals in comparison to the Vikings. Now, I think the whole point and the reasoning for him thinking this is, what have the Bengals done over the last 3 years? Like, they have gone to a Super Bowl, they have been in AFC championship games, and I just don't think he is specifically looking at just this year. Now, I'm not saying you should only take this year and only take this film for what it is and don't have any other external factors. But if you just looked at what the Bengals and the Vikings did over the first 4 weeks, and you have the balls to put them on the same tier of caliber NFL team, I think it's ludicrous. I just think it's, putting almost too much on our preseason expectations. Take those, throw them out the window, and go throw on the silent tape over the first 4 weeks. The Vikings have the best tape damn near out of every football team in the NFL. But he carried on to say this. We all deep down know all this Vikings love you are seeing in all these power rankings is what people feel obligated to do since they are 4-0. And he says the same thing with the Bengals. So that point right there, Nick saying, everybody feels obligated to put the Vikings up top in their power rankings is just because they're 4-0. It is not just that. If the Vikings played the Commanders, Patriots, Panthers, all these bottom tier teams, I guess I can't really put the Panthers in there anymore. Yes, maybe you would have an argument. Maybe it's a fake 4-0. But the Vikings dismantled 3 teams who were in the divisional round of the playoffs last year, and they frankly weren't even games, and the Vikings took care of business. I just don't think Nick Wright truly knows how good this Vikings team is. And if you look at these stats, they're first in the league in passing touchdowns, first in the league in interceptions, first in the league in sacks, and they're the only team with a top 5 scoring offense and a top 5 scoring defense. I say all that to also get to this point. Nick Wright, I watch you all the time. And, I am a fan of yours, so I hate getting on here and just saying that you just don't really know what you're talking about when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings. And I hope, honestly, he sees this video, and I would love to chop it up with you about this Vikings team. but you deep down know what a Super Bowl team consists of. And the Vikings have all of the kind of checklist items that you need to be a Super Bowl team. And their first kind of argument that I can make over the Vikings being in that caliber of football team is their coaching staff. By far, I think the Vikings have the second best coaching staff in the league, if not the best. You need to have an elite play caller on both sides of the football. You got Kevin O'Connell as the lead offensive play caller. I think he's top 3 in the league right now. And then you got Brian Flores, the best defensive play caller in the league, maybe second best to your guy Spags, Nick Wright. But, I think the Vikings, they have a Super Bowl level coaching staff and also a Super Bowl level defense. Now, do the Vikings have a star like Chris Jones, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett on that side of the football? No. But they got about 10 to 12 guys who are all B to A minus at their positions. Like, I'm sure Nick Wright doesn't know about Andrew Van Ginkel, doesn't know about a guy like Josh Metellus, even Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace, Jonathan Gennard, these guys who aren't blue chippers or on the, extreme level of talent that these other guys are, but they are very, very good football players. Now, you kick it to offensively, the Vikings have the weapons of a Super Bowl team. Now, I think you can use last year's Super Bowl as a great example of two different types of Super Bowl teams. You have the Kansas City Chiefs, superstar quarterback, elite coaching staff, and a couple of blue chippers at key spots. Chris Jones, Travis Kelce. That's a way to do it. Or you go the Niners route, where you have a really good quarterback on a cheap deal, and you have an Avengers level of cast around him. That's kind of the position the Vikings are in. You got Sam Darnold on a $10 million deal, and then Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hawk once he comes back, and Aaron Jones. Like, that is a true Super Bowl cast of weapons. And also this, I think you need to be a physical football team to win a Super Bowl. And I think the Vikings have that. They are able to run the ball this year. They are second in the league in taking away other teams' run games this season. They are a physical football team. They hit defensively. They fly around the football field. And we even saw Justin Jefferson blocking last week on a Jordan Addison end around. I think that speaks to the culture and the sense of physicality that is in this organization. And now my last point. I do think you need to have a special feeling and a special, I'll call it a vibe, around a team to go and make a Super Bowl. And I think this Vikings team has that. They're all bought in. They love their coach. They love their quarterback. They all are trying to accomplish the same thing. And I think that matters when you're trying to hoist that Lombardi trophy. So, Nick Wright, I'll close out all these thoughts to say this. You're a smart guy. I would love for you to be right. And we can potentially get on, maybe a Colin Cowherd version of where Nick Wright was right. And you hop on this Vikings bandwagon. I think this is going to be your last chance because they're going to go into London this weekend. They're going to dismantle the Jets. And I guarantee you will still be saying the Vikings aren't as good as other these top teams in the NFL. That's okay. Just want to give you yourself one last chance to hop on the bandwagon. But I do want to ask you for you guys' help in this. I would love for Nick Wright to get this video tweeted at him over 100 times. So I'm asking your guys' help. Take this video. Go right down there where it says share. Copy this link, send it on Twitter, and tag at GetNickWright, and I'll give you guys a retweet, and I'll show you guys some love. But again, I would really, really appreciate it. So let's dive into the film breakdown part of today's show. As Kevin O'Connell had 4 plays against the Green Bay Packers that were big plays that I thought he just absolutely, carved up this defense. And we could get to this first play here. This was on the 3rd and 14 early on in the game. It was on the Jalen Naylor crossing route. Now here's the formation. Darnold wasn't empty. He's got Aaron Jones in tight end in tight, 2 wide receivers up here, and Addison and Jefferson. Then he's got Naylor down here. And here is a route concept that O'Connell drew up. It was the tight end right here, Johnny Munt and Aaron Jones. They're both going to be chipping, then going out to the flat. Then you got Jalen Naylor on a deep crossing route. Then you kind of got a double post out here to the top of your screen with Jefferson and Addison just running deep post over. Now, what I love about this play and what I thought was so smart that O'Connell did was actually the blocking on this play. So we get to the next screen here. He had Johnny Munt and Aaron Jones both chip each edge rusher right here. So that allowed one-on-one with Darrisaw and O'Neal after these edge rushers got chipped. That's, barbecue chicken for those 2 guys. And then you allowed these 3 interior offensive linemen to really hone in on the 2 defensive linemen for the Packers. I thought it was a beautiful play design. And then on the back end, when these guys were running these routes, Justin Jefferson, Kevin O'Connell knew he is going to drag that safety. He's going to drag that corner. So right there, number 18, he got all the attention. And then that left Jalen Naylor just to come across the field on a 3rd and 14, perfectly protected, beautiful play design. Darnold stood in the pocket, hung tough, and then he just threw a dart to Naylor. And honestly, all of the guys on this play executed perfectly, like Aaron Jones, Johnny Munt, just even their chips to give Darnold that extra time because he knew it was a 3rd and 14. But I just love this play design. You got 2 deep posts. Honestly, you could have taken a chance on Addison at the top of your screen on that super deep post, but that would have been a hell of a throw by Darnold. But he took the easy one, found Naylor on the crossing route. But let's get to this other play here. I thought this was another just beautifully designed play. This is a play after on the Jalen Naylor touchdown. We got Darnold in shotgun, running back to the left, 2 wide receivers in a stack to the bottom of the screen. Then you got Addison up here, one-on-one with the corner and a tight end in tight. And this is how the play ended up looking, where you had I think that's Jordan Addison or Jalen Naylor right here just ran that crossing route. And then Addison almost ran a stop and go. You see him right now. He's stopping just to get the corner of the bite, which he did. Then he just floated it over the top. But also down here, Justin Jefferson was on an in-breaking route. You knew the attention was going to go that way. And then Darnold was able to get it over the top for a touchdown to Addison. But let's kick it to the best play of the year so far for the Vikings. I'll call a spade there. It was the back shoulder Darnold touchdown, the number 18. Clearly right here, the Vikings, they got Jefferson split out wide, 2 tight ends on the line of scrimmage, other receiver to the wide side of the field, and then running back left to Darnold. So you're able to go max protect. You're able to give Darnold more time in this, and then this is how it ended up shaking out. On the other side, you had Justin Jefferson, one-on-one right here. This is Darnold, alerts going off in your head. I'm throwing him the football. Now this safety, with him close to this hash right here, you have a window to throw this to Jefferson's back shoulder. Actually, this safety right there ended up going with the tight end on that in-breaking route, but it was perfectly protected. And then obviously we know the rest of the story just went to Jefferson's back shoulder. But this was also another beautiful play. And, we've talked about the 18 effect so much here on the channel where it's like that last play, Jefferson's one-on-one, you give him that chance, you let him cook. But on this play, I think we're really seeing how teams overreact to Jefferson. So the Vikings got bunched to the wide side of the field here, and this is how the play ended up looking. This was on the in-breaking route where Addison caught it over his head. It was a hell of a play, but pretty much Addison's running this in-breaking route at 20 yards. Jalen Naylor is the clear-out guy on the streak, and then Jefferson's running the other route at about 10, and then this is how it looked when the ball was about to be floated in the air. Darnold, as you see all the way at the left side of your screen, this ball is already coming out. But we see the streak route, he's taking him out. So Darnold knows Addison's going to be wide open in this massive, massive circle in the middle of the field because all that attention Jefferson's getting right here where that linebacker's going to him. So then Addison was being able to make a play. But it was just beautiful by Kevin O'Connell. And to get you guys a take around KOC here in a second, but want to tell you guys about a deal we have going on right now. Chatsports.com/Vikings hoodie. Click that link. Get yourself a Vikings sweatshirt or hoodie today. They're up to 50% off. I got that link for you guys in the comments and description of today's show. But check it out. Get yourself a Vikings hoodie today. So the take I have around Kevin O'Connell. I'm not saying he's the best play caller in the league. I mean, you still have to give that to Andy Reid, but I'm saying he's the hottest play caller in the league. And, there's a big reason why this offense is 4th in points per game at damn near averaging 30 over the first month of the season, and that was without Addison, without TJ Hawkinson. That's all on the play caller. And I think he's doing a great job of just using the Vikings' weapons. And, this offense is set up where it's all ran through Justin Jefferson, and you work everything off that. But when you're having guys like Hawkinson and Addison running their routes off Justin Jefferson and they're in one-on-one opportunities, it's truly special. And then you add on top of that strong run game with Aaron Jones, a good protection with Christian Darrisaw. Like, this offense is not going to slow down whatsoever. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, give me a skull down below in the comments section so I can see where all the real ones are at. We're almost there. London game. Going to be only a couple days away. So give me a skull if you guys made it to the end. And also, I'm on Twitter at Pat Siep. So give you guys a follow over there if you guys give me a follow. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. As always, go Vikes.